The regular council meeting for Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022 is called to order at 7:08 p.m. We'll stand for the moment of silent meditation. Pledge of allegiance. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, may I please have roll call, please?
Roll call. Mayor Nickerson,
Here.
Vice Mayor Urbom,
Present.
Councilperson Perella,
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Appreciate that. Next, we're moving to approval of the agenda. I do have one change that I want to make, one adjustment, which is I want to delete H3 and move it to the April meeting. If there are no more changes, do I have a motion to approve with the change deletion of H3 to move to the April meeting?
I'll motion to approve.
Move to
As
approve.
amended.
Move to approve. You didn't hear the change? No?
Is,
Hello, hello, hello. You guys hear me better now? All right,
yeah, but it might be my
let me
microphone.
move
that
this
she
over a little bit.
can't- Okay.
All right, here we go. Right to the mouth. Here we go. All right, so I do have a change to make an adjustment to the agenda. I wanted to delete agenda item H3 and move that to the April meeting. If I have no more changes, if I'm hearing no more changes, do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the adjustment of moving H3 to the April meeting?
So moved.
So moved by Councilperson Martin. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Hearing none, we're moving right down to the acknowledgement of visitors and or special presentations. Let me change my position. All right, here we go. Everybody hear me okay? We good? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. First, before I get started, I do want to mention a couple of honorable mentions. The first one we do have here with us, we have Miss Lillian T. Taylor. If you could stand, please, Miss Taylor, please, so we can all give you. As we're moving into Women's History Month for what I'm about to talk about now, Miss Taylor is a chaplain at the Miami VA Medical Center, and she is the first and only black female chaplain in the history of the VA, Miami VA. So we really appreciate everything that you've done. And the legendary figure that you are. And I'm glad, happy, and I'm honored to have you here. I don't know if she's here. I did want to recognize Ms. Julia Poliadis, and she is an environmental green real estate and building consultant and agent. She is, oh, there she is in the back. Stand for us. Stand for us, Julia. Ms. Poliadis. And she's part of the new generation of individuals that are working really hard to change their environment, to change their neighborhood, to make the community better. And we really appreciate having you here tonight, and I'm honored to have you here. Thank you very much. So I didn't want to start this off on a sad note, Madam Manager, but as you know, not a sad note, but as you know, there's a lot of things that come up with me being me being mayor. You and I talk about so many things all the time, and a lot of things that we just handle ourselves and we just kind of take in stride and we just never bring up again. So Manager Alou knows that, when our agenda came out about we're going to be, honoring Women's History Month at this meeting. So I got a couple phone calls, Madam Manager, and she knows about this, from a couple of men that reside in the community. And they were upset because we're honoring Women's History Month. And they said it was ridiculous. And they called me all type of names, right, Madam Manager? And they said, I used to like you, but now that you're celebrating Women's History Month, I don't like you anymore, Mayor. But they said it in a different way, Madam Manager. I said, well, you know what? I said, for who you are and for what you're saying, not only would I not want your vote, but if you think that for the type of person that you are, that you should vote for me, like you shouldn't even vote for me. Because if you and I see eye to eye, then I'm doing something wrong. So I'm glad, and I told him I take pride, and the manager knows this, I told him I take pride that we do not see eye to eye. And so, being that that's the case, I want to say to him, I hope he's watching, that we are now about to honor Women's History Month. And we're going to start off like this. You know, the first Women's History Day took place in 1909. International Women's Day became a holiday in 1911. Women's History Day became Women's History Week in 1978. Women's History Month began in 1987. And this year, 2022, the Women's History theme is Women Providing Healing, Providing Hope. And to that gentleman out there, I hope you find some healing, and I still have hope for you. I love you regardless, and I hope you find the happiness in your life that you are missing currently. Shout out to Wyoming. The Wyoming Territory was the first place to grant women the right to vote. That's also where the first women governor came from, Governor Ross. The 19th Amendment that we hear about often did not give all women the right to vote. Unfortunately, Native American women, African American women, and Latin women were not given the right to vote with the 19th Amendment. I want to give a shout out to Jerry Cobb. That was the first woman to pass and be an astronaut, pass the astronaut test. That was in 1961. I want to give a shout out to Elizabeth Blackwell, who became the first woman to own a medical degree in the United States. I want to give a shout out to Title IX. Last month, Madam Manager, we just renewed our Title IX for the village of El Portal. I was happy to do that. We did that in the resolution last month. I do want to point out that for all of us men out there, right, that women have always, and the stats show they continue to outlive us in every single society. So all of us men out there, I know it's hard. I know we want to eat that red meat. I know we want to eat that steak and ribs. I know, but we have to listen to our wives and the women in our lives, because when it comes to health, they outdo us by a landfall. I do want to point out Miss Jane Addams was the first woman to be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Madam C.J. Walker was the first black female millionaire in the U.S. Charlotte E. Ray was the first black American female lawyer in the U.S. And recently, the Winter Olympic Games ended probably about a month ago or something like that. I do want to point out that in 1924, when the first Winter Olympic Games took place, women were only allowed to be in the figure skating competition. And if you looked at the Olympic Games recently, you see women all over the place, and I'm just happy to see that happen. Shout out to the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. She was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Shout out to Sandra Day O'Connor. You all know she was the first female justice on the Supreme Court. shout out to Kamala Harris. She's the first woman vice president, regardless of your politics. Regardless of your politics. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, I hear you. I do want to bring up at this time the leader of an organization. And I see you, Ty. I see you. Ty, you're going to come up with her. And she has a wonderful daughter also who's here with her, who is the future of women's rights, the future of equality. But right now, her mother is the current legendary stature that appeals to women's rights and equality. And not only that, but through her organization, which she is president of, she does many things throughout the community. They just had Vice Mayor Urbom, I appreciate you filling in for me when it comes to that, or with the key and the situation that we have going on. They just recently had this past weekend movie night. All right. Oh, look at that. That's right. Councilperson. Oh, Councilperson, I heard you were passing out cookies too. That's what's up, Councilperson. I gotta come see next time. I was out of the country, but next time I'll make sure I'm there so that I can get some of those cookies, Councilperson Perella. Last month, Vice Mayor Urbom, we didn't have cookies. He wasn't there. See? So you wait for the month that I'm out of the country. Now you want to bring cookies to the movie night. Well, there we go. Well, our movie nights, there are wonderful events, and a lot of people come out to the movie nights, and we really appreciate that. Not only that, the plant swapping stand and many different things that she does with her organization, which is the El Portal Women's Club. And she's going to come up, and Ty, her daughter's going to come up with her, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her women's club. She's gonna record you. She's gonna tell us a little bit about the women's club and about her members and about what they do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. So we have a history with El Portal. In 1946, the mayor established the first women's club of El Portal. And it was a very simple ceremony, and he said, "You will be a women's club." And so there was a lady by the name of Mae Bush, and she was the first president of the Miami Women's Club of El Portal. We were an organization which is a wonderful organization because it is responsible for being a part of the creation of the Everglades. So in 1946, September 17, 1946, the Women's Club of El Portal became part of the District 11, which is responsible for our national park, the Everglades, and it's a true honor. They continue to do many different things. Through looking at their yearbook, we were reinstated with the idea from the mayor, Claudia Cubillos. So the last living member of the organization from 1998 gave her archives to the Women's Club archives to Mayor Cubillos with the intention that it would be reinstated someday. So in 2015, she gathered a number of residents that had been here for a super long time and asked if anybody was familiar with what a women's club was. The women's clubs in the history of the United States of America are responsible for the ability for women to vote. They helped create the beautiful parks that you appreciate, the libraries that you take your children to. They helped establish in their communities sidewalks. In this state of Florida, they're responsible for, just in 1961, the legislation to stop free-range cattle from being on the highways of the state of Florida. And we are a part of that beautiful organization of women that just care about their communities and want to make their communities a better place to live. And so I thank you for honoring us because we are a part of that legacy, and we are continuing the legacy through the support of what we love where we live, and we volunteer to do whatever it takes to make the community better. They are in the process of creating a women's history museum in Washington, D.C., alongside all of the other memorials and monuments that are in Washington, D.C., because it is so important. They are also responsible for women's suffrage in the United States and the ability for all of us to vote, including African American women, and it being so inclusive. So thank you for this honor.
So as you guys know, or could imagine, I ordered a plethora of awards for Women's History Month. Um, this award came, and you see right there, it says GFWC, yep, El Portal Women's Club. It says, you are valued and appreciated, Women's History Month, March 2022. It's hard to see the words because they were supposed to be colored in. But you know how it is, President Fruitstone. When you order so many different things, it's bound that something gets missed along the way, right? When you order so many different like awards at one time. So I'm going to contact them, and we're going to be like, hey, what happened to it? Because it's supposed to be colored green and blue.
Oh, our colors.
Our colors.
Because we adopted the peacock
You
colors.
see what I mean? And so, but I got it. We just opened it. Myself and the village clerk, we were back there scrambling. We were opening everything. And I was like, what happened to my green and blue?
Yes.
So they skipped
It's
over it.
beautiful, though.
But I have that, and this holds it up. But I'm going to
Thank you.
contact them and have them send me a free one that's
Thank
green
you.
and blue. Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. For sake of time, I'm going to go through the awards, and then after I'm done, we can all get down and take all the pictures, the individual, the family pictures, and things like that. Because if we get up, take pictures, and sit, it takes a while to get everybody set back down and things like that. And if anybody from the council, you guys know how I am. If you guys want to jump in, if you guys have anything that you want to say about any of the individuals getting the awards, you guys are welcome to do so, of course. Yes.
Just a quick note that I do love celebrating Women's History Month, but I encourage everyone out there to celebrate the women in your lives every day, because as we all know, women are the backbone of countless civilizations and communities and deserve to be celebrated every single day. So I encourage you guys to do that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Councilperson Martin. Appreciate that. Next up, there are two individuals that are the backbone of this municipality. They're two women that make sure that everything runs right, make sure that everything's held up the right way. The first one, wherever we go, on a daily basis, we're constantly and consistently in communication with one another. We're going to meetings all over the place since COVID ended. We're going to meetings, and we're like, every morning it's like, all right, Madam Manager, you take this meeting, I'll take this meeting. What do you have? Okay, well, I have an 11 o'clock. Okay, well, I have an 11:30. Okay, where's your 11 o'clock? Okay, well, look, I'll take your 11 o'clock, you take my, and we do that. That's a day in, day out situation. And it's no secret especially for the residents here. And I know President Fruitstone's always saying, Mayor, all these great things happening, you promote it more. Promote it more. But in our first year, my first year as mayor, our first year as a council, we brought in more funding to the village of El Portal than has ever been brought in the entire history of El Portal, and that's 85 years. We started in 1937. And so being that's the case, she's like, promotion. And being that's the case, all of that funding that we got, all of the successes that we have, I mean, if it's on the agenda, if the council, supports me tonight, when I put out those letters on the marquee yesterday for Major Harrison, who, shout out to Major Harrison, he's going to be up later, and the new officers, when I put those letters out, I said to myself in my mind, tonight may be the night, after all these years, that within a few weeks, we'll be able to see a digital marquee out there, and we'll never have to put letters out ever again. We'll have a beautiful digital marquee that will be out there, and that's on the agenda tonight. And that also, just with like everything else, Madam Manager, if that passes tonight, That is done with no taxpayer dollars. That is done with funding that we went after and we received, Madam Manager. All the success that we have could not have been done without Manager Alou. She's not only my backbone. When we go to places, Manager Alou, they say that we're tag team champions of success. They say, how does little El Portal, the smallest municipality with barely any, we're just starting to get business taxes, barely any income, any money, how are we doing so many things? In the Miami Herald, just a couple of months ago, I was in there with Mayor Levine Cava and Keon Hardeman, where we were breaking ground over on the east side for future septic to sewer. They say it's coming west and will be here eventually. We hope so. We have septic to sewer going on the west side. We have so many different things. Councilperson Perella, always looking out for public works, always looking out for things like that. Vice Mayor Urbaum, Councilperson Martin, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. And for us being so small, we always do everything that we can possibly do before we ask anybody for anything. And that's because of the culture that you've instilled in me, Madam Manager. And I've said it before, you are, when it comes to co-workers, out of my long life of working, you are the most efficient individual that I've ever worked alongside. Most efficient, ever. Please come up here, Manager Alou. Come up here and receive your award. I appreciate you, and we all appreciate all the stuff you have done for El Portal. Thank you very, very, very much.
I'm going to keep it very short because I know we have so many people to recognize tonight, but I really appreciate the recognition. Thank you, Mayor Nickerson. You're an excellent coworker too. I mean, we get it done because we are a dream team and making this village everything that we envision. So I'm happy to receive this tonight, and I thank the entire council for your support. You know, you guys, you rock for me as well, so I appreciate that. And our police force, thank you so much. I mean, we really have changed a lot at the Village of El Portal. So I'm happy to receive this, and I'm honored, and I will continue to do good work with you. Thank you.
This next individual, I always say, you know what I say, Clerk Jacoby, more than a clerk. She, we talk often, and you know, she'll call me just to ask, and you guys know the past, just to ask how my kids are doing. She'll call me just to ask how you're doing. How are you doing, Mayor? She says, nobody never asked you how you're doing. You work so hard. You put in, she's like, you put in like 14-hour days every day. And she's like, I just want to know how you're doing. And I appreciate that. She's a ray of sunshine in Village Hall. You guys know that. When you walk into her office, it always smells good. Always is really calm and relaxing. And I just want to say thank you for everything, Madam Clerk. And what it takes, you know, we come here and, you know, these meetings are set up. They're ready to go. But the process that you know, you helped me out with and you and I have to go through in the week leading up to the meeting to make sure everything is done, to make sure all the resolutions and ordinances are right, to make sure that all the supporting documents are done the right way, to make sure that everything, all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. And these meetings wouldn't run the way they run without you and your expertise in helping me get everything organized. Clerk Jacoby, please come up.
First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who I've had the pleasures of working with till this moment. I think that the women's role is actually, the women in general, is the most unselfish human being there is. They think about everybody first before them, kids, husband, other people. And a lot of them go unappreciated. And I agree with Councilperson Martin. Thank the women that are in your life. I want to thank, first of all, my mom, my grandparents, my grandma, and I also want to thank the good women I've had the pleasure of working with and the women that I work with now. Also, the women I surround myself with. Thanks to them, I'm here where I am today. I also want to honor my daughters because they're the future women. You got to keep encouraging those girls. Like Ty, I know that her mom encourages her. I see it. You got to. This is the women of tomorrow. So I want to say thank you for making me feel I'm humbled and honored and appreciated. It goes a long way. It goes a long way. Thank you. Thank you.
Next, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, we're honored to have you back on the council. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward was, and you guys are going to clap for this, she was the first black mayor in El Portal's history. She didn't expect this. None of them did. I didn't tell anybody who was getting the award. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, we're also brothers and sisters in the Native American world, right? Right. That's where that name Lightfoot comes from for her. And if anybody knows me, you guys know my dad's African American and my mom's Native American. My mom still lives on a reservation in South Dakota. And you're a Cherokee. I'm a Blackfoot Sioux, Lakota. There we go. We're brothers and sisters. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, you believe in yourself, you believe in others, you stick to your guns, no matter what anybody says. You have a distinct vision for this community that you've lived in for so long, and I know 30, that's a long time. You have that distinct vision, and we're here to not only realize that vision, but we're here to associate ourselves with you in helping you achieve that vision. And so we're happy to have you back. Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, please come down, please.
Now, anybody that knows me knows that I'm a crier. So I'm doing everything I can not to embarrass myself. But thank you so much. I did not expect this. I will make a correction. Daisy Black was the first.
Daisy Black was the first.
Was the first. And on her shoulders, I stood. She's deceased now, but did a great job, and we can't leave her out. This is, I don't know about you all, but when you're put on the spot, how do you do that? What do you do with that, But thank you so much. I enjoy what I do. Everybody knows that I'm a trained city manager by profession, and what greater place to be than on a city council. All right, Joe? What better place to be? There's no reason to be a professional administrator and never do anything in your community. Keep that in mind. Encourage the daughters, encourage your nieces, encourage your sons, for crying out loud. Encourage the women in your life that you think so highly of. It's not just the most important thing that all of us did was get a high school diploma. Did you know that? They call me doctor today. But the one thing that's the most important is that high school diploma, because you can't go anywhere without it. So take it into the arms. When you have to discipline the children, don't be ashamed, because all three of mine, much discipline, are making me very proud. They're all professionals today. Thank y'all so much. This one.
And let me just say, let me just say that that I love you. I love you. Let me just say that yes, I did misspoke. I wanted to say that you were the living oldest living mayor. But let me say also in respect for Daisy Black, who when I first became a council person 12 years ago, she was the mayor. She was the mayor. And let me say this: when I first became a council person, Daisy Black, who we love so dearly, the night that my election came through and I was voted in to this council 12 years ago, the first person as I walked out of these doors, because remember how we do it, that they post the results in the window.
Right.
So you come up around like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, you look in the window and you can see like who won and things like that. And I looked and I saw that I won. And when I ran, there were 2 sitting members of the council running against me.
That's right.
Right? They were backing somebody against me.
Yeah.
And I did it all on my own, and I walked around, and so I did it. And when I saw the results and saw that I won, I turned and started walking. And as soon as I turned, the first person that she was driving her car pulled over, jumped out of her car, and gave me the biggest hug, and that was Daisy Black. And then the next person I talked to was you.
It was a miracle. It was a miracle because everybody thought he's an Indian with braids. And I'm going, that makes him great.
Thank you very much. Much love. Appreciate you. Councilperson Martin. One of our newest members of the council, but your impact was felt from day one. Councilperson Martin and Clerk Jacoby knows it, Manager Lou knows it. I've said repeatedly, Councilperson Martin is a breath of fresh air. I've said it repeatedly to you guys, right? A breath of fresh air. The way that you're so not only intelligent but intellectual, and you think through your thought process, it's just so logical in the most beautiful sense and form. And your deductive reasoning and the way your conclusions come about is straight, it's right to the point, it's very well thought out. And I really feel that this council would not be anywhere where we've had all this success that we've never had before. And you are also a reason for a reason that that's happening because of how you are and just how, like I said, smart and intelligent and intellectual you are. And I'm just blessed to have met you, and we're just honored to have you on this council. Come on down, Councilperson Martin.
That is so sweet of you. Thank you so much. Oh, okay, I will say something. I feel like it's an Academy Award. I gotta put it next to me. I guess, yeah. What do you say? Those are very kind words. Yeah, I guess I don't know what else to say, but thank you so much. I think I will elaborate on something that I set up there, which is like women are the backbone of like civilization and communities. And some of us lead in big, visible ways, like we're on council or the vice president of the United States of America. But every woman is leading her household, is leading her family. Every day, we have always been leaders. We have always been the people who are determining the ways that communities go. So, to every woman out there, I say women's history is American history, just like African American history is American history. I remember a quote by Maya Angelou that every time a woman stands up for herself, unbeknownst to her, she's standing up for all women. So to all the women out there, you are capable of leading. Continue to lead. Continue to stand up for yourself. Continue to make a way so that other women can be recognized for the work that we have always done and will continue to do to move our communities forward. So I appreciate the sentiment and I appreciate the award. This is very sweet. Thank you so much.
Next, later on we're going to be swearing in some new officers. But for Women's History Month, I do want to recognize a couple individuals. Let me just say, Officer Garcia. See you in the back there. I want to say, Officer Garcia, thank you for being you. Thank you for everything that you do. And, because Madam Manager, this is a governmental center right? This is a political center, right? So there's a thing called PC or politically correct, which we stay, right? But we're still honest and we're still truthful. And I just want to say, Officer Garcia, that there's always things that we go through in life. Life is always, hills and valleys. But it's no fault of our own if we get through it. And with us getting through it, you have to have individuals that see you for who you are and support you for who you are and will always protect you for who you are. And just like I was speaking about in the beginning with that gentleman that I got the two gentlemen I got the phone calls from, the one in particular, there is never going to be a time when I'm not mayor of this community. There's never going to be a time where I don't protect individuals who deserve to be treated equally, who deserve to be treated fairly when they are not being treated that way. Madam Manager, as long as we're here, everyone will be treated fairly. Officer Garcia, would you please come up and receive your award? It says on here, it says, Officer Emily Garcia, police officer, you are a diamond that shall shine bright. Women's History Month, March 2022. Thank you. You want to say anything? Let me also bring up really quickly her son David. David, come up here for a second. David, come be with your mom. Come be with your mom. So this is not only for Women's History Month, but she's a mother. And so I just met David in the back, and when I met him, I said, well, what do you like? Like, what do you? He said he likes rap music. So I said, okay. I said, well, okay. I said, well, what's your name? He said, David. I said, well, you need a rap name now. See, I said, so what's your rap name? What's your rap name? Little D. So his rap name is Lil D. And so I said, so your rap name is Lil D. I said, now you need your first rap lyric. And his first rap lyric was what? I'm Lil D. That's his first rap lyric. So we have a future artist, a future superstar right here in our midst. I just gave him his rap name about a half an hour ago. And so his rap name is Lil D. He said he likes rap, so he's good. He's ready to go. And we even have, I just met him. We just met, right? How's our handshake go? Boom, look at that. All that in the last half an hour. So Lil D's ready to go. Much love and much love and respect, Officer Garcia.
Thank you.
Say something real quick.
Oh man, I'm on the spot here. Oh, I just want to say thank you. I'm happy to be a part of this agency. I'm happy to work with the wonderful women that I work with, and I'm just caught off guard. And thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Is Miss Torrance here tonight? I know she's getting sworn in. Cassandra. So Miss Torrance is going to be sworn in a little bit later. And so she said she hasn't even been sworn in yet, but she's a woman. And so when I saw that, we had a slew of new officers that were going to be sworn in. Nice to meet you. I haven't even met you yet. How you doing? What's going on? My name is Mayor Omar, they call me. How you doing, Cassandra Torres? Good to meet you. When I saw that we had new officers that are going to be sworn in, and I saw her name, I said, well, this is Women's History Month. So if she's going to be sworn in and we're celebrating Women's History Month, we have to bring her in the right way. Councilperson Life Award, Councilperson Mark, we got to bring her in the right way, Madam Clerk, Madam Manager. So I got this plaque for her, and it says, Cassandra Torrance, police officer, welcome to the El Portal Police Department. Welcome to the team. Women's History Month, March 2022.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you. This caught me off guard as well. Uh, I don't even know what to say. I'm just very grateful for this opportunity, and I can't wait to work with you all. Thank you.
In a second, I'm going to ask Councilperson Lightfoot Ward to join me for a second. There is one more award there, and I just wanted to say very quickly that that award I got for my predecessor, Mayor Cabillos, who was the last mayor of El Portal. And I reached out to her. She had a previous engagement tonight, so she couldn't be here. She actually had to be with her family. And so, Mayor Cabillo, shout out to you. She's spending family time. And then when she said that she couldn't make it tonight, I spoke to her the other day. I said, you know what, Mayor Cabillo? I said, what I could do is, I said, if you want me to, I said, later on in the week, I said, I'll call you Wednesday, which is tomorrow. I said, and then later on in the week or next week before April hits, while it's still Women's History Month, I said, what I could do is I could come down to your school and I could present you the award in front of your students and your staff and employees. And she said, that'd be wonderful. So she's going to reach out. I'm going to reach out to her tomorrow, and we're going to, settle that. If anybody wants to join me, just kind of grab me and say, hey, I want to come with you, Mayor Nickerson, and I'll make sure that, I tell you when I'm going to be over there. All right. I'm bringing Councilperson Lightfoot Ward here because now we're going to be moving on to recognizing a couple of individuals. And the first individual we're going to be recognizing is Joe Geller. Because Joe Geller, who is our attorney, but Joe Geller is also a former mayor. And Joe Geller, we were just in Tallahassee with him, weren't we? We were just there with him in Tallahassee because Joe Geller is a state representative in Tallahassee, and he is termed out. Did not lose, but he is terming out. And so I did want to recognize Joe Geller for his years and years of local government expertise. And I know you and Attorney Geller have been friends for a very long time, so I'm going to allow you to speak about him, Councilperson.
Joe Geller. Joe Geller and I came here about the same time, 30 years ago. He didn't know much about city management. I did. I didn't know much about legal. He did. He has been such a blessing to this village. He came under attack a few times, but they didn't last long in the battle he won. He's a great family man, an excellent mentor, knows his stuff, everybody. This is a truly, real, honest to goodness, excellent attorney. And I don't say that because it's been that long. It's been that long that I've had to experience him on the good side and the bad side. He prevailed. He's a wonderful man. How am I doing, Mayor?
You're doing wonderful. You're doing great. You did great. Attorney Geller, please come up. You gotta get one of your speeches. You gotta get one of your speeches, You're on the state floor.
I won't make a speech, but I will say this. I'll just tell you one very quick story about how I came here. Take this off so you can hear me. How I came to El Portal, and it's a long time ago, is one of my former mayors, councilman now, councilperson Lightfoot Ward said. In 1994, Daisy Black and a fellow named Philippe DeRose, who was the first Haitian mayor of El Portal, came to me because there was an old guard on the council that just held on tight to power. Bunch of old white men, what I've turned into. And they actually closed the village hall during budget so nobody could come in, so nobody could bother them and hear what they had to say. And they said, we got to do something. We don't have any money, but can you help us? And we filed a suit under the Sunshine Law, saying you can't do this, it's against the law. And we had it set for the first hearing, and they all up and quit and left town. Mayor moved to Colorado, and they all dispersed, and we had a brand new council. And that was 1995. Yeah, 1995, long time ago. And I've been asked to leave as attorney here twice, and I've been invited to be here 3 times. So right now I'm up 1. Never know how long that lasts. It's like being a manager in baseball. But over the years, I've learned to deeply love this village and care about what happens to it. I remember being out in the park with the late Mayor Daisy Black at an event we had with Mothers Against Gun Violence, whatever the proper title is, but we're out there in the park trying to do something. So I am very happy and humbled to be with you, to see this incredible, energetic mayor and this dynamic, diverse council. I want to say, with deference to my dear friend and former mayor colleague, and we worked in Opelika together, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, and with deference to Councilperson Martin, who I agree, a breath of fresh air, but let me just say a word for the vice mayor and Councilperson Perella, 2 strong figures that support not just these 2 women, but these 2 women and every member of that police department that keeps everybody here safe. They support them all. They're behind them, and I'm happy to be behind them. Thank you all very much.
For your retirement from local elections or local office, I got you some stuff you can relax to. So we all got you. So here, I'm gonna let you unwrap your gifts, because that's part of the fun of everything. But in here you have a wooden pin set of 4 different pins. Very nice wooden pin set. It has the ink pen right here. You have a plethora of desserts that you can indulge in. Here is all type of desserts and muffins and all type of stuff and chocolate and things.
My wife and daughter will
And there you go. And
yeah.
here, the large one is a variety of different meats and cheeses and stuff like that. So while you're going into your retirement from local elections, you can sit back and relax. But I know you're such an astute intellectual, so we did get you the pin set, so you can still jot down, all your wonderful thoughts.
I'm speechless. That don't happen much.
Thank you very much, Attorney General. And shout out, if you guys didn't know, the Geller name is a very historical name in politics. Him and his brother was heavily involved with the 2000 recount with George Bush and Al Gore. Him and his brother. His brother currently, Steve Geller, his brother is the current mayor of all of Broward County. So that's just a historical name, the Gellers. Now, check this out. The connection, Madam Clerk. So Attorney Geller has termed out of his state representative seat in Tallahassee, and one of his good friends, I should probably bring you up to talk about him, Attorney Geller. One of his good friends, Jordan Leonard, who was recently, he's the former mayor of Bay Harbor Islands. He's the former mayor of Bay Harbor Islands. Stand up, Jordan, because you want to come up. Former mayor of Bay Harbor Islands. He is now leaving Bay Harbor Islands to run for Joe's open seat for a state representative. So look at how all this is connected. But that is not why he's up here. He is up here because Jordan, for years, or I should say Mayor Leonard for years, has been telling me, back then I was vice mayor, mayor now, back then he was like, vice mayor. Because Mayor Leonard was one of the first clerks of El Portal. He used to be a clerk of El Portal. He was one of our first clerks. So the position that Clerk Jacoby has now. Look at all this connection. And He's been telling me, he said, mayor or vice mayor, back then it was vice mayor. When I was clerk, they promised me the key to the city. And every meeting that he would see me at, every event, he'd say, Vice Mayor, they promised me when I left Elbertown, they'd give me the key to the city. So I looked into what you have to go through to provide the key to the city. Okay. It's a pretty high threshold. I wasn't able to meet that threshold. But what I was able to meet, check this out. So it is not the official key to the city that you get officially through the government process. But I said, you know what? Once they told me no, that it was too hard to get, I said, we can't let them hold us back. We can't let them hold us down. So I got this made into a key, and it says, Jordan W. Leonard, thank you for your service to the village of El Portal. So from when you were clerk, and it has our seal in there. Thank you very much for that. Attorney Geller, you're going to be up next. Hold on a second. And this right here, I got you a star, and this is for your future because you're going to be moving to the state level from local level. You hope so. And it says, Jordan W. Leonard, we are proud of you. You are a rising star. Thank you, sir. So I appreciate that, and I got your star. Attorney Geller, come here and just say a few things about Jordan and your history with him.
Sure. I've been there 8 years in Tallahassee, and it's not an easy job sometimes. So it needs somebody that's really capable of doing it. I met Jordan when he was in the Young Democrats in college. He helped run one of my first campaigns for the House, one of the ones that didn't work. And thereafter, he worked with me at Opelika, just like I worked with Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. He was an assistant to the city manager. He was in Homestead. He ran this community reinvestment agency. He worked for the county in economic development. He got elected in Bay Harbor Islands. Might say lost his first one by 1 vote. Came back, has served 13 years on the council in Bay Harbor Islands. Became the president of the Dade League of Cities. He's married. His wife is say it right for me. A speech language pathologist. I always miss one of those words. Never the same one, but always one. Jordan runs the business side of that, deals with Medicare, Medicaid, and he's also got 3 of the most energetic, smart, get into everything kids you've ever met in your life. So what could better prepare you to know what real people encounter and real problems than the life Jordan has lived? I can't think of anybody who has more qualifications to go to Tallahassee to represent us. It's why I've endorsed him and why I really hope he's going to win this election.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. You know, when I became the clerk here, I was one of the first clerks that came after the charter was changed. Originally, El Portal's government used to have a strong council form of government. So there was no city manager. So the clerk literally did everything as per the council. So they changed the charter, but as I noticed when I got the job, there was a lot of things that I had to do as the clerk that typically a clerk doesn't really do. So, you know, the clerk handles the agenda and, you know, handles public records and whatnot and writes the minutes. And in El Portal, you know, you had a system where you had a committee system, which you still have today. So, you know, you're talking about 7 public meetings a month. You know, that's a lot of work. In addition, I handled payroll. I handled all the employee relations, retirement. So all the key punch for, you know, everyone needs to get paid. Procurement, you need to buy things Everything from a car to a pencil went through my office. And when I said went through my office, it was just me. Chances are, if you called Village Hall, I'm the guy that picked up the phone too. So if you need to get a building inspection or a hot mop for your roof, chances are I'm the guy that did that too. So when I came from the county and I worked here, it was a lot of work. But El Portal gave me my first big break, and I'll never forget that. Believe it or not, it's interesting that the mayor was talking about Women's History Month because, 3 of the individuals that really got me here were women. And Audrey Edmondson was the mayor at the time. Marie St. Ville was the vice mayor who later became mayor, and Linda Marcus. And those were 3 women that without their support and their continuous support, I wouldn't have had the job because the clerk's hired by the council. And those 3 women supported me and hired me. And they were, the whole council were my bosses, but those 3 women gave me an opportunity from a guy who was sitting in a cubicle at the county to being a village clerk in my 20s. And I'll never forget that. The only other thing I'd mention, and again, as you've probably surmised, I've been elected for almost 13 years. I've been a mayor. I've been president of League of Cities. I've done a few things. One of the things when you work in a place, especially for a couple years, you get to know people, and you move on, and then you get to a new place, and you meet new people. Very rarely, when you work from agency to agency, do you have a strong connection that lasts this long. And I will never forget the strong connection I have here with El Portal. Unfortunately, Joe knows this. I lost my mom at a very young age in a very unfortunate way. And when I lost my mom, I was the village clerk here. And I'll never forget the support that my bosses, your council at the time, had for me. It was their compassion, their empathy that helped me get through probably the hardest time in my life. As an only child, as someone to lose their mom at such a young age in such a horrible way, it was nice to know that your work family supported you. And, it's nice and it's great to get recognition, but when you really need it, it's nice to know that your people support you. And it's something that as an administrator, I was an assistant city manager myself, and I've been a mayor. It's something I'll never forget. And it's not something you can show, it's only something you can do. And thank you to all of you because your predecessors were the ones that always supported me. And I'll never forget that ever. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Thank you very much, and good luck. Yeah, take your key box, man. I was wrapping my brain trying to figure out what can I do about that key situation. We're gonna move on to the portion right now where we're gonna Chief Mendez, why don't you just come on up while I'm getting ready to do this. And also, when we get finished with the police swearing ins, then we'll do all the pictures and everybody can conversate and things like that. Cause I know the kids and stuff, everyone wants to move around. So we appreciate your patience. And then I also have some goodies up here for the recipients of all the Women History Month awards. So we'll get to that. And I'm just going to give them out to you guys, as we once we get finished. Chief Mendez, my man. A while ago, we had the holiday thing that we had, the holiday celebration. And I stood over there, and the DJ was over there, and I took the mic, and I said that I was reading an article, I believe it was in the Washington Post or New York Times or something like that. And I said at that event, I said that there were so many, like I was reading about so many different ways around the country that you had other municipalities trying to defund their police departments. And I stood right there with the microphone in my hand, and I promised you, you were new to the chief position. And I said to you and all the officers that were standing back there with you, I said that as long as I'm mayor, we're going to support our police department 100%. And we're going to always do whatever we can to get you whatever you and your officers need, because you guys are the first element to any successful community. It doesn't matter how much funding we bring. It doesn't matter that we brought in the most funding ever. It doesn't matter that we do all these different things. If people don't feel safe in their neighborhood, it doesn't matter. And so we're going to always be there for you, and we're going to always do whatever we can to make you all feel safe so that you can make our residents feel safe. I do want to say shout out to you, shout out to the incoming Major Harrison, who's standing in the back, because you both have hit the ground running. And I said this before when you first became chief, that you hit the ground running, and things that I had as my vision, things that we had as our vision, you just made them become true. And, you know, just like I said before, you know, the thing called politically correct, which we are, but we're also truthful. And you'll have individuals who will complain about the police department. You'll have individuals who ask for certain things, receive those things, and still complain. And I remember, Chief, that for so long, one of the things I would always hear when I was a vice mayor and when I was a council member, one of the things I would always hear is, well, you know, nobody wants to go work for El Portal's police department. How often have I been up here and we've been swearing in people? Isn't this like every other month we're swearing somebody in? Because of all the people that you're bringing in, you and upcoming Mayor Harrison. For so long, I've heard about the cars. I've heard about the instruments that you guys need to be successful. And we've done everything we can to provide that. And let me just say, Chief, that if anyone doubts yourself, if anyone doubts your department, if anyone doubts the great things you've been doing for the department, Madam Manager, correct? The great things you've been doing for the department, then those individuals are just individuals that just want to be negative for no reason. Madam Manager, we've given them everything. And we're backing you up. We love how you're backing us up. And Chief, you got some new officers to swear in, Chief? My brother, I appreciate you. So what we're going to do for time purposes, he's going to swear everybody in at one time. Chief, you might want to come to the mic and just say who's getting sworn in for what, so that we know.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We are welcoming Tommy Harrison as our full-time major. We are promoting Daniel Sanon from officer to corporal.
Tommy Harrison's the major. You want the camera to see you, my brother. Tommy Harrison's the major.
We're promoting Carlos Vives from officer to corporal.
Sanon and Vives are the corporals.
And we are welcoming 4 more reserve officers to our family, and we're very happy to do so.
Well, I wanted to, you guys come back here. Say their names individually, Chief. We want to recognize the new officers also, Chief. Say their names individually. You guys come back here. Say their names on the mic, Chief. Who is this right here? So we want the camera to see them. And right here we have
Alejandro Marin.
the Marin. Right here we have, she already got it board. She's tonight. Say your name.
Consent.
Sandra Torres, right here, the corporal. Say your full name. Carlos Vives, right here, the corporal. Say your full name, Sandra. My brother, Thomas Harrison. Say your name again, Major. Thomas Harrison. Say Alejandro Vilazan. You guys, I appreciate you. And so we're going to swear them all in at the same time, you guys.
Raise your right hand, please. I state your name. Being duly sworn by the Chief of El Portal Police. Do solemnly swear. I will support. Protect and defend. The Constitution of the United States of America. And the state of Florida. I will in all respects. Observe the provisions. Of the Constitution of the state of Florida. And the charter of the village of El Portal. And I will faithfully discharge the duties. Of which I'm about to enter. I further swear. I will faithfully. To the best of my ability. Serve and protect. All citizens. Regardless of race, color, or creed. I accept the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics as my standard. Of conduct while on and off duty. And swear to faithfully abide by. And defend the same. Congratulations.
Let's have families come up. Let's take pictures, you guys. Let's take pictures. The Women's History Month recipients, we're going to take pictures. The police officers' families come up. Take pictures with your family member. How you doing, JP? All right, let's get ready to knock this out. Get back to it. All right. Everybody can hear me okay? You guys good? Okay. All right, we had our acknowledgement of visitors and or special presentations, so we're going to move along. The rest of the meeting should not be long at all. Next is good and welfare. This part right here is for anybody that has any questions or comments about anything that's on the agenda. Now is your time to come up. You have 3 minutes to say your name and address for the record, and you can say whatever you want to say about any item that's on the agenda. That's good and welfare. I'm seeing none. Moving on to the consent agenda. He spoke to me. I spoke to him. Next is consent agenda. This right here is just the approval of the minutes for February 2022. That was our last regular council meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? So moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Martin. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing none, moving on. The next item is item H1, Little River cleanup. You guys, the only reason why I have this on here is not even to discuss it really. The Little River cleanup is planned already by the Little River Conservancy. It's going to take place on April 2nd, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. I'll be sending out an email tomorrow morning with the flyer and all the information for everybody to see. And it's just April 2nd, April 2nd, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. That's the Little River cleanup. And they've organized the whole thing, so there's nothing really for us to do. I just wanted to have it on here to announce it. Do I have any questions or comments about the Little River cleanup? It's a Saturday morning, April 2nd, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. The gates. Yeah, there will be kayaks there and canoes there. When I send out the email tomorrow, you'll see the map where like the entrance is. The entrance is off of 82nd Street, right there where the river is, off of 82nd Street. And you just pull in there, you'll see all the cars. Gates open at 8 o'clock a.m. and we start to do our launch at 8:30. If you get there 8:30, 8:45, 9 o'clock, you can still go out up to about 10:30. I think 11 o'clock is when all the boats or canoes have to be back, 11 o'clock or 11:30. So if you get there, anytime before like about 10:30 maybe, you can still be able to get out and get some trash out the river before they call all the canoes and bring some trash with you. All right. Any questions or comments? Any more questions or comments about the Little River cleanup? Hearing none. Moving on to H2. So the owner of the skateboard park, Jonathan Strauss, reached out to me, and he wanted to know what we were doing for the spring egg hunt this year. He suggested, or he asked if we wanted to do it at the skateboard park. I wasn't necessarily against that. The skateboard park is a huge facility. You can hide things kind of all over the place. The only problem is when I was speaking to the clerk, we were just talking about how, is this too close to me? Am I good? We were just talking about how the skateboard park is concrete. And so, if little kids do a mad dash once you say, okay, go look for the eggs. And so that's the only concern that, myself and Clerk Jacoby had was, should it really be at the skateboard park because of the concrete? Otherwise, the skateboard park's a huge, nice, beautiful facility, but I don't know. What does anybody from the council, what do you guys think?
Well, so,
Turn it on.
I'm not on. I don't know. And now? A little bit better? Okay. So from their grand opening, I know that everyone who went onto that property essentially completed like a waiver. So if they have that in place and everyone's essentially filling out a waiver as they go onto the property, it sounds like they've already kind of got that covered for their daily operations. So I don't know if that suffices. It also kind of gives notice, it certainly gives notice to anyone coming on the property to use caution, care, what have you. And one of my concerns was the drops, right? So if it's designed for someone to be rolling along, right? And so if you have people who are unfamiliar with a skate park and they're standing at the top of one of the precipices, right? And then they don't really navigate it that well, you could have people or kids, falling down if it's not really well controlled about where everyone's running to and how they're going about it. But at the same time, I don't know. I was amazed the day of the grand opening because I saw these tiny little kids out there, and I remember this one girl in particular. I was like, "Oh my God, is nobody going to go stop this little girl from going down this hill?" And then obviously she had done it 100 times before because I was like, "Oh, okay." I felt a little foolish because she was almost expert at it, And I was like, oh, okay, all right. Like, my concern was completely unfounded, at least in her case. And so I kind of, went back and forth on this, when the idea was proposed. I do think it would be a good venue for this. It sounds like they have it already kind of accounted for, that liability issue in terms of the waivers that they have in place. And so, I feel like it is a good solution to have the event there. And I think I would be in favor of that overall. Obviously there are some concerns, but I think that they've got the experience to deal with that already. And certainly there, with anything we do, when we had the event, the door-to-door kind of last year, the concern was you've got people, walking the neighborhood, and you're just, you're always just wondering, oh my God, if we got someone speeding down the street or something like that. So there's always going to be risk no matter what we do. So in that regard, I think I would be in favor of the skate park, but we do have the nature trail and the River Shores Park there as a backup, I guess. And the model from last year also could work again in theory.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor Urbom. Yeah, my concern wasn't necessarily the legality of the individuals signing off, on that. It was just the simple fact that little kids, once you say, okay, you guys, all the eggs are hidden, they start running. My concern was just like you just might have little kids falling and slipping and scraping their knee and scraping their elbows and scraping their arms on the concrete of the skate park. But yeah, of course, the skate park is a fun place, So, Attorney Geller.
Yes, Mayor. And just in terms of the liability issue, strictly speaking, yes, you could have everyone sign a waiver. And if everyone signs a waiver, it would certainly be difficult to successfully sue us. Hopefully nobody gets hurt badly enough that they think about a suit. But, you do have to be concerned if you have a bunch of scraped ankles and scraped elbows and scraped shins and knees and hands and stuff. You may not have a lawsuit, but you might have a lot of upset parents that their kids were hurt. So it's one advantage of a park. They're usually soft.
Yeah, thank you very much, Attorney Geller. Yeah, as I was saying, that's my concern. My concern is not the legality or liability. My concern is for the simple fact that I don't want El Portal kids to be injured. Just period. Like, I just don't want them to be injured or be hurt. That's all.
Yeah, if I may, Mayor.
Councilperson Perella.
Yes, and that's one of my concerns as well. It's not much of the place to be covered by their liabilities, or it's mostly El Portal hosting that event and pretty much driving everybody to the venue. So I think it should be within the same village. One of the parks that we have, more of the nature, sand, and sound grounds than a concrete stage. I don't know. It's just my opinion.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Perella. One of the questions is, you guys, do we want to have a spring egg hunt this year? That's also a question. I think that, thankfully we do have a little bit of time. I know that, Madam Manager, we are going to end up having to have a special meeting coming up because myself and the manager and we spoke to Attorney Geller afterwards. There's a lot going on with our loan and Synovus with that whole FEMA debacle from back then, and we have to figure some stuff out with that. And so we have to have in the next couple of weeks, we have to have a special meeting, probably two, for the two ordinance readings that we have to do. But that being said, in any of one of those special meetings, we can go over, because we know we don't have to do it right now, we can go over the details of how we want our spring egg hunt to look. If you want it, we do have the luxury this year that I believe that Easter's not until April 17th or something like that. So it's much later. So we do have that luxury. And like I said, I think we're going to have a special meeting probably next week. Or we can even, if Councilperson Martin, or for this instance, Chairperson Martin, if she ends up having her planning and zoning meeting next week, we can do a special meeting right after that, take care of our Synovus situation, Madam Manager, and also talk about a spring egg hunt if we want to do it there in detail. So we don't have to do that right now. So between now and then, what I want you guys to take away from this is think about if you want to have a spring egg hunt, and if you do, how do you want it to look? Do you want it to look like last year or skate park or whatever it is?
We do still have 1,000 eggs from last year in the closet and the signs. They're not all filled. Some of them are still filled, but not all of them are filled. But we have them. So we definitely have a lot of material already to kind of pull this off low budget. And the model from last year, I feel like it was a success. And so that is an option. And so anyway, I think if we can pull it off, I think we should as a spring celebration. It seemed to go pretty well last year, and we have the material.
Okay. Well, you guys just kind of think it over. And like I said, we'll probably be addressing this next week or the week after. Councilperson Martin.
Yeah, now that I know that we have 1,000 eggs, my vote would be yes, because it just seems like an easy lift. I know my kids enjoyed it last year, and if it's cost effective, I think we should do it this year. Completely agree to not have a bunch of toddling kids on concrete. The nature trail would probably be really good, and it's kind of it's already outfitted to be a spring egg hunt like venue. So I guess with the knowledge of the abundance of eggs in the village, I would say yes, let's have one.
We could even, if we did it at the nature trail, we could even get the freebie over there as parked, and even do some outreach regarding the freebie shuttle as well.
If it's the weekday, remember the weekend the freebie doesn't run.
Well, we could talk to them and see if we could at least get it parked over there for the event. You know what I mean? Just as an extra.
No, if we could do it, I would 100% be with it.
Right, just to even draw attention to it.
No, 100%.
And that the stop is right there in front of the nature trail.
Yeah, there was the freebie individuals reached out to me recently, and they said that they wanted to think about having something in the tot lot, like a party or something like that, a freebie party on like a Saturday or Sunday to kind of promote the freebie and maybe like some food and stuff like that, and a DJ and things like that in the tot lot. So they were also contacting about that. So that's going to be coming up sooner or later. I just have to get the details down. So
did we decide that no, we're not dealing with the skateboard park, and we're now talking about what we're doing for Easter egg hunt? But I mean, we're because I got two signals there. I want to know which way is up.
yeah. So
just a reminder also that we're calling it a spring celebration.
Yeah, spring egg hunt. So Councilman's Life Awards, what we're basically walking away right now. I'm about to close it out. What we're deciding is that we decided that for the most part we want to do a spring egg hunt. I think for the most part we don't want to do it at the skateboard park, but what we are going to do, because we're going to have to come back for a special meeting probably next week or the week after, we're going to come with our ideas to that meeting, and then we'll discuss it in detail at that meeting.
Very good.
But we're good for now. Do I have any last questions or comments about this item? Hearing none. Moving on. Resolutions and ordinances. Resolution I-1. Digital marquee and technology message board. Oh. So this right here, you guys, we'll finally be getting away from the old school marquees if this passes. This is not taxpayer dollars. This is done from federal funding, so it's not taxpayer dollars. All we have to do is pass it, and we'll have a digital marquee within like three weeks to a month. It'll be a digital marquee out there. So. And then,
so the entire marquee is being replaced. The entire structure is being replaced.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the entire structure is being replaced. They're going to use some of the concrete slab. They'll just retrofit, but they're coming in. It'll have Wi-Fi capabilities. It can be a scroll. It could so many more options.
Okay.
And this really falls under emergency communication with our residents.
And then is the same company that we would be acquiring it from the same company that's going to be installing it?
Yes.
Okay.
They're gonna
So
do
this is what they do.
Yes.
Okay.
Before I ask for any other comments or questions or ask for a motion, Attorney Geller, if you want to read Resolution I-1 into the record.
Resolution I-1, a resolution of the Village Council of the Village of El Portal, Florida, Miami-Dade County, Florida, providing for the purchase of emergency communication technological equipment for the Village of El Portal, Miami-Dade County, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date.
Thank you very much, Attorney Geller. As I said, you guys, this is no taxpayer dollars. This is federal funding. This is part of that. Part of the funding, Madam Manager, is for technology purposes. It's for emergency communication and technology purposes. If we don't use it by a certain time, we will lose it. And we have our first report coming up, Madam Manager, at the end of March.
30th. No,
correct?
April 30th.
April 30th?
Yes,
Okay.
but
So we have our
want
first
to be
report.
ahead of the curve.
Yeah, we have our first report coming up, so we have to begin to purchase these materials. So we have them in our reports so that they don't say, hey, you guys aren't using the funding. So if you guys aren't using the funding, we'll take it away and give it to somebody else.
No.
So do you have any questions or comments about the digital marquee?
I have a question.
Yes.
Given the lateness of the hour, I have a question for the village attorney. He says, yeah, okay. Is it ever such a thing as, we already know, if we've already studied this, okay? And is it, thank you, darling. Thank you very much. That didn't help. Y'all can, it does? Well, thank you. Okay. Is there any way we can do them all together and then vote one? Can we do them? We got 3 of them. We already know they're all, as the village manager said, they're all needful.
Yes.
We know they're all needful. Can we just read all 3 of them and we do one vote? Is that parliamentary?
Next time.
Next time?
I would. What you can do, since you now have a consent agenda, if you have items that you don't think are going to require debate because the council is pretty much, already sold on it, you could have put all 3 of these on consent agenda with the minutes, but now that you've adopted your agenda and they're not there, you can't do that anymore in this meeting, but you can do it next time.
Anytime before we accept the.
We have to read them one at a time because that's the way the agenda was approved. But for next time, if you have something that you don't think is going to attract much discussion or any debate, you can put them on the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you.
I have no
Even
problem
money.
putting items
Even
like
money.
this on the consent agenda for next
But
time.
not tonight, councilperson.
Don't worry, we're breezing through them, though.
That sparks one question for me, though.
Yeah.
So with either of the resolutions that have multiple quotes, would that still apply as being eligible to be placed with the consent agenda at the beginning of the meeting?
The way these resolutions are written, see, if there was some big item with a lot of money and you weren't sure, and it was being presented to the council to make a selection, then it is not something that you can put on consent agenda because you have to discuss it and somebody has to move which to accept. But these, where they're for dollars, I mean, again, if it's like a request for letters of interest or request for qualifications, those have to, I shouldn't say have to. Sometimes those require more discussion if they're going to be placed on consent. Remember, anything that you put on your consent agenda, which is brand new to this village, and good thing, Mayor, I mean, it's a good move. Anything you put on the consent agenda, any member of council can say, well, wait a minute, I would like that pulled off consent because I want to talk about it. I may not be against it, but I want to have some discussion, and any council member, just one, pulls it off consent. But the way these are written, where they're just dollars, and one is clearly cheaper, and the manager has evaluated them and instructed me, I have to say, and the mayor in this case, who really did a lot of the work, but instructed how the resolution was to be constructed and said, we are to approve this quote in this amount attached here too. Since you're not making a selection, you're approving a resolution to go with that, then it can be on consent. Now, if you look at it and any member of council says, wait a minute, this is only $1.25 cheaper than the other one, and the other one has a much better track record, I'm not comfortable with the one that's being recommended even though it's cheaper, you not only can pull it off and talk about it, but you can move to say, I'd rather go with this other quote. That's why all the quotes are given you in the backup. So if you want to make a change, it's the council's prerogative. But these are written, award it to this group per the attached Exhibit A. So unless somebody has a problem with that, you can just vote it. But if it went on consent agenda, unless somebody wanted to pull it off, it would be qualified for consent agenda.
Thank you.
And just for clarification,
Ordinances you could do first reading, but on an ordinance on second reading, you should never do consent agenda, in my opinion.
and for clarification, if a member of the council wants to pull it off, they would do that at the approval of the agenda portion of the meeting.
Yes, and let me just say, reference the point the clerk correctly makes. For second reading of ordinances or certain other things that are zoning or land use related, you are by law required to have a public hearing. So a public hearing can't be done on consent because the public, even if not a single person speaks, you have to open the public hearing, you have to close it. That would never be consent agenda. But in my opinion, first reading on an ordinance that's not a specified kind of land use that requires 2 public hearings, there are just a few of those. You can do first reading of an ordinance on consent agenda if you anticipate that everybody's going to say, finally, good idea. And then if somebody just wants to comment, you can pull it off just for the purpose of making some comment. And yes, you're correct, Mayor, it's done when you're setting the agenda. One of the things that you would do when there are items on the consent agenda would be to say, before you take a motion to approve, are there any pulls? Does anyone want to pull any item, and any one member can say, no, I want to talk about it.
Thank you very much. That you guys, that affects my before we vote for an item on the resolutions and the ordinance, I always open it up to the to the people. That kind of takes that away a little bit. But anyway, you guys know I'm proud. That's the first thing I passed when I was a council person. That was my first thing I got passed. Was before we vote for. Remember that, President Fruitstone? Before we vote for any item, we open it up to the residents to see if they have anything they want to say. All right. That being said, do I have any more questions or comments about the digital marquee resolution? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
Yes.
I have a motion to approve by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward, a second by Vice Mayor Urban. Before we go to a vote, do I have any questions or comments from the audience? If you have any questions or comments about the digital marquee resolution, come up, say your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, I'll be very quick. Maribel Fruitstone, 157 Northwest 88th Street. I just want to say, if we could repurpose the old one and maybe put it on the west side to use the new one here and find a place to let the west siders know the same thing. I know it's a lot to have somebody actually put all the words, but it would make us feel super special that we are actually a part of El Portal, that we have our own little marquee, and we know what's going on top of the super cool new electronic one that you are now passing. Thank you. Repurpose it.
Thank you.
Recycle.
I have no problem with going over there changing the words. You know, I'm always around changing words and doing stuff. The only problem that the only question I would have, Madam Manager, is the cost that it's going to take for us to move that over there.
Also, it's quite rusted out. I mean, it's painted a few times.
So as soon as we take it off, it's going to break apart. Yeah.
But you know,
well,
let's see. We got another tranche of funding coming. Maybe we'll get one for that side.
We could
'cause that's
consider the
still
matching
technology.
grant, put a second one in.
We have something by the nature trail, right? Like a little marquee.
Yeah, that's already been.
Yeah.
That's already been.
No, but that's a really good idea. That's a really good idea.
Yeah,
Well,
but as the manager said though, the manager and myself, and all of us, we're always going after funding. So we have another trough of funding coming in for technology. Maybe we could buy a second one for the west side.
That's what I'm saying. I think that might work. If we
that might work.
When we get, don't worry about that one. That one's out.
Yeah.
But maybe we can find some funding for another one. Maybe something
and
smaller.
put it
Maybe a little
put
smaller,
it where
a
the
little
freebie
smaller.
and put it where the freebie stop is.
Right.
Yeah.
We one other thing to consider though, we do have a lot of vandalism in that area.
We do.
So
yeah.
we've had, so I don't want to put something. So just something to think about.
Yeah, we have a lot more vandalism in that area, and you know what, Madam Manager, that being said, if we are going to do something, we should look into putting a digital one on the west side, because that will stop. Because I can only imagine with the kids walking to school over there, they'll take the letters and start spelling bad words and stuff, and you know what I mean? It'll be crazy.
That they will kick that thing down because it's
So-
rusty. It's only held up
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's been painted.
Well, remember, we painted it all the time to make it
Right.
look like it's new, but it's not.
Well,
All right, you guys.
Well, it's possible also with it's also possible with the digital one that I would imagine there may be an option of some type of I mean, cameras are a dime a dozen these days, and a small camera with a sign that says police monitored.
Yeah. But I don't think
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
A digital one over there, I don't think will have a problem though, because we control the digital. They're not gonna bust it open.
No, but I'm saying in terms of they could spray paint the LCD screen or something like
Oh, I
that.
see
You know.
what you're saying.
So
Yeah, it's all good.
So
All right, you guys. I have a motion.
I'm sorry. I do have a question though about the sign. It's are we once it's decided, it's passed and whatever, are we agreeing to the design of the marquee that's on the quote from that same vendor?
You want to pick out what it looks like?
Right. I mean, what they send in the quote is pretty much what we have. It's nothing that is a little more modernized or anything. So we're sticking to that. No, but the design of it, the post with the little lanterns on top, and is the design gonna be as the one in the picture here, or is
Yes.
it gonna
Yeah.
be something?
Yes,
Yes.
that's
But-
what it would look like.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah,
to
we're
be
go-
honest with you, I do like the one from the DDE display, whatever. It's a little bit more modern looking. It looks better. So if you're gonna make the changes, just make sure that it's something that is a little more attractive.
the
That's all.
DDE. Hold on a second.
The second quote,
Yeah.
the first one. That one. That's the one I'm referring to. Yes, that's the one I like.
Okay, so
Yes.
okay. Well, let me just say this. Which is it's okay, but understand that one is 13,000.
No, but I'm saying, you know. I'm not saying to go with that most expensive one, but I'm just saying maybe,
You wanted to
having the
see if
company
that-
to design something a little different than the
Well,
first
we
one.
can
they showed.
certainly ask.
We can ask. Yeah,
we
I was
can
just going to
ask.
say that. We can ask.
right.
We can ask. All right. Great. Any other questions or comments about the digital marquee? All right. Hearing none. We do have a second. We do have a roll call. I mean, we do have a second. We do have a motion. We do have a second. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call?
Roll call. Councilperson Martin.
Yes.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Councilperson Perella.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Urbom.
yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on. Resolution I-2. Chief Mendez, you might want to come up for the next two resolutions, please. Resolution I-2, Attorney Geller.
Resolution of the Village Council of the Village of El Portal, Florida, of Miami-Dade County, Florida, providing for the purchase of essential police equipment for the Village of El Portal, Miami-Dade County, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date.
Thank you very much. This is, again, you guys, this is from funding. This is not taxpayer dollars we're using to buy this. The reason why I wanted to do this, I've been reaching out to Chief Mendez, saying, Chief Mendez, we got to, get back to those traffic safety, laser gun, speeding situations in El Portal. This is what we need these radars. We're going to get a couple of them so that we can, slow down the traffic. And as I said, this is not taxpayer dollars. It's coming from funding, also federal funding. Do I have any questions or comments for this resolution before I ask for a motion a second and open it up to the audience, to the residents? Yes, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward.
Favorite department. We've been needing stuff for a long time. You don't need to be up here trying to play. We've been needing this stuff for a long time. I'm not gonna put you through a rope trying to figure it out. We figure you already know we've been needing this stuff for, you've been here a little while.
Yes.
I don't think there's any objection that we have been less than efficient when it comes to properly equipping our police service. That's all I want to say.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. We're correcting that now. And we've been correcting that ever since this new council came aboard, so I really appreciate all of you guys, definitely. Do I have any other questions or comments about the traffic safety laser radars? No, there's no correction. She was just saying that this is a good thing that we're doing this. That's all she was saying. Yeah. No, there's no correction. No. Thank you very much. Do I have any last questions or comments before I ask for a motion? Do I have a motion to approve Resolution I-2, traffic safety laser radars? So moved by Councilperson Perella, second by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Did I hear that, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward? Yes, we did. Second by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Anybody from the audience have?
I think she said I too moved to. No. Pardon me. I too. Second.
Do I have any comments from the audience before I ask for a roll call? I'm seeing none. Madam Clerk, may I please have roll call for resolution?
Roll call. Councilperson Martin.
Yes.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Councilperson Perella.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Erbaum.
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on, Resolution I-3. This is the Glock handguns.
Yes, sir. A resolution of the Village Council of the Village of El Portal, Florida, of Miami-Dade County, Florida, providing for the purchase of essential police equipment for the Village of El Portal, Miami-Dade County, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Attorney Geller. Unfortunately, since I've been here, we've never given our police officers new handguns, and that's not a good thing. We also have, and we'll discuss this at another time, Madam Manager, but we also have it to where when our new police officers come in, there's a lot of equipment that they have to purchase themselves, which I don't think is a really good thing. Because then you have different people with different, levels of different things, and they have to. So that's something that we can address at a later time. But at least we need to make sure our police officers are protected and they have the proper equipment, and they need to have proper working handguns. Attorney Geller.
Just a reminder, Mayor, somebody needs to get me, just for the record, the final quote from Bass that was.
Yes, and it was sent to me, and I will send it to you, Attorney Geller. Thank you very much. That being said, do I have any questions or comments about Resolution I-3 before I ask for a motion and a second? I'm hearing none. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution I-3? Moved by Councilperson Perella, second by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have any questions or comments from the audience? Come up. You have 3 minutes. Say your name and address for the record about the handguns. I'm hearing none. Madam Clerk, may I please have roll call on Resolution I-3?
Roll call. Councilperson Martin.
Yes.
Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Councilperson Perella.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Erbaum.
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Again, you guys, this is all coming from funding, no taxpayer dollars. Chief Mendez, one last thing I wanted to ask you before you walk away and leave that, Madam Manager, you're going to be getting prepared to do your manager report. Chief Mendez, one thing that I want to ask you, for the police department, in your opinion, what do you see is the dire piece of equipment that we need to focus on going forward in the next couple of months? What's the one thing that, if the first thing that pops out in your mind, don't think too deep, what's the first thing that pops out in your mind that you think you will be needing, so we can kind of start to digest that and prepare it for
vehicles? We're growing and we're going to grow more. Vehicles, number one, to be able to transition all the officers daily and to deal with everything that we need to deal with.
So vehicles is number one?
Correct. Because
how many vehicles do you think you need to catch up to where you need to be?
based on what we had looked at before, the same as phase one.
Phase one, phase two?
Phase two, correct.
Okay, so the same amount. So I can start to look at, because I have that paperwork, so I can start to look at that paperwork and kind of see like what we did and like what that would entail.
Yes.
Okay, so vehicles is the same as phase one.
And just so I can
All right.
chime in, Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
That would be 6 vehicles. 'Cause last time we did 7.
Because
we
we did the
also
code
did
enforcement last time,
but
so it would be
we
one. It would
would
be
need
one less.
6 more for phase 2 for the fleet management plan.
Okay, we'll have to look at that. Okay, I'll
And
look
the
at
life
that
of these
for an
vehicles,
upcoming
Mayor?
meeting. All right, Chief Bennett, anything else that you want to let us know before you disperse from the podium? About the
No, I
Yes,
think
no.
one more thing.
The-
I'm sorry about the technology. I know your major. You all have talked about radios being outdated as well. So
Well,
perhaps-
the handheld radios are outdated. If we purchase more, you're basically buying an old radio you're going to have to update on the new requirements. In the near future, you'll see agencies like the beach have already upgraded. The city's done the same thing, and the smaller agencies around us.
And we can get that through our technology funding from the federal
Yes.
government, correct? So that's
Yeah.
not taxpayer dollars? Okay, so we'll
Exactly.
definitely look at radios for the next meeting, and then I'll start to dive into the phase 2 of the police vehicles.
Yes.
And we'll see
And you had asked
what
about
comes
the,
out of it.
Forfeiture fund.
So,
They used to have forfeiture money that's for all of this stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like the new equivalent to forfeiture money.
yeah,
Comes not from.
not from, yes, exactly. Absolutely. Thank you very,
I had a question about, what's the life cycle of this equipment?
any,
Your lasers, what's the life cycle?
the lasers probably, give or take with calibration and everything, we take care of them. They're probably gonna be around for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay, and this one that we just voted, the purchase of essential equipment,
the guns.
what's our life cycle on the weapons?
The firearm itself, probably, barring anything that comes up in the future, 15, 20 years.
How often do you clean them?
Well, that's part of the maintenance and everything else.
How often do you
Obvi-
clean?
And when we qualify, which is twice a year.
Twice a year? That's it?
Well, I take it upon myself. I clean mine all the time.
Yeah, but I'm really serious. You know, I work in the police service in the federal. I'm really serious.
When we qualify, part of the training that we put them through is cleaning the handgun, servicing it, and knowing that it's ready.
So you don't have
But we always encourage them that that's something they do all the time.
so there's no one that's watching the birdhouse. Nobody's actually saying, nobody's clicking in when they clean their weapons, whether they do it in training.
If we don't have anybody dedicated to it, you're correct. You're correct.
Officers don't feel a dedication to keep their weapon.
We do. That's a frame of mind that we put them in. So
Okay.
for the most part, even in larger agencies, in the agency I was before, you always had one that would show up to qualify, and their gun was rusted shut,
That's what I'm talking about.
and there's no way around it. But for the most part, that's your lifeblood, so most everybody takes care of it and does the required maintenance. Not to mention line inspection. I inspect the car, I inspect the firearm.
I'm thinking the same thing. That's my whole question.
I understand.
Because why would you have equipment, we paying for it, it's not being maintained, whether it's used or not?
Oh, no,
It still
that's-
has to be maintained.
That's a massive part of purchase and everything else.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate that. I
Thank
do.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Lightfoot. Thank you very much, Chief Mendez. Moving on to the reports, Madam Manager, if you want to go ahead with your report.
Thank you. I'll make it brief, everyone. Just FYI, we are going to be restructuring the loan with Synovus, turning it into a term loan. But we are going to be bringing that before the council in the next couple of weeks. So Mayor and I have been meeting with Synovus and our bond counsel, as well as counsel for Synovus, to restructure. Everything is in good stead for now, and they are willing and able to work with us to restructure and get us in a place where we can stay in a good status as we continue to finalize these 2019 and 2020 audits. For the 2020 legislative session, it just ended, and the village did not receive any funding for our requests. But through much effort, all of us, we all went to Tallahassee. We met with people, and we really advocated for the village in a meaningful way. But it wasn't our year this year. Last year, we were able to get the rotunda funding on the west side. This year, nothing. But we still keep trying. And as Mayor says often, we're out here getting lots of other funding as well. So it wasn't our year this year or this session for the request, but we'll ask again next season. The legislative team would like to come before the council and describe what all happened over the session, and so we'll expect to hopefully see them next month. So you'll see them. The Parks Renovation project continues. We are awaiting plans from our landscape architect. He's supposed to be presenting some plans to us, something that would be visually appealing and understandable so that we can have a public meeting. We really want to engage the community, perhaps with a community forum. I've discussed this with Councilperson Perella, who will host it, so once we get those completed plans that are more presentable, I mean, we've gotten some really technical plans that we can't even understand, but we'll get something that's going to be a lot more digestible so we can see what these parks will look like. We don't have a date yet, but please check website for our viewers. Please check the Village website for more information on when we'll have a community forum to discuss the planned renovation, the parks renovations. The Village of El Portal continues to have this lovely electrical shuttle vehicle. It's fully operating, and it's lovely, and it takes you just where you need to go. Mayor Nickerson and I went this week down to the Board of County Commissioners and had an enjoyable ride. So pleasant, so nice, and I really encourage anyone who has an opportunity to take the shuttle. You know, and you'll feel great about not having to drive in the traffic or park, and it really does take you right to where you need to go. And sometimes if that means an extra hop on another means of transit, that's nice too, but the walk is easy as well. So we did that, and we're planning more activities on the shuttle, but we encourage people to ride. And our ridership has actually gotten a lot better. So keep up the good work of promotion, and please, ride the shuttle, our El Portal residents. Our building department is continuing to go through its IT digitization process. It's a long, arduous process. We're building certain things to store these documents for the documents maintenance first, and then as we're doing that, they are scanning. So it continues, but we haven't been getting any complaints, and that's the beautiful thing I'm really happy about, that we're already a lot more efficient than we have been, and we're getting very close to the goal. Once the building department is digitized, then we'll start the other administrative departments' digitization. It just helps with our customer service once we're, in that way. And also it helps when things like a pandemic or something happens and or a hurricane where people need to work from home, but it has to be done. This is going to be helpful for us in the long run. One other thing just for the community to know, that there has been no change at the North Miami Avenue Bridge, but we did get it on good authority from County Commissioner Keon Hardeman's office. His intergovernmental affairs coordinator reached out to us. We've met with her a couple of times, the mayor and I, over March, and she did get some answers about the canal bridge construction, and she's saying it was delayed for approximately 16 months while the design build team redesigned the canal embankment protection and associated permitting with multiple agencies took place. The redesign was necessary due to unexpected conditions of the canal embankment protection discovered during the construction. We anticipate construction will resume at the end of the month, and completion will be in 1 year. So we're still got another year on this one. It's going to be a while. So I don't like it. Nobody likes it, but we're hopeful that one day we'll have a safe bridge, and it sounds like we've got another year to go. But just as an FYI, I will be placing this manager's report on the Village website, as I do every month. There's lots more that we do, and it's all broken down in departments. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or consult the website. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Manager Lou. I appreciate that. Because of time, I'm going to bypass my manager report. My mayor report. I'll put it on April's agenda. Attorney Geller.
Nobody sued us.
Thank you very much. That's a beautiful report. I appreciate that. We have the last good and welfare. This is the time right now where anybody wants to come up and talk about anything at all. It doesn't have to be things just on this agenda, anything at all. You have 3 minutes. Come up and say your name and address for the record. Madam President.
Good evening, 157 Northwest 88th Street, Maribel Fruitstone. There is a matter of the Arbor Day, which is a Tree City USA. And in order for us to stay at Tree City USA, I am wondering if the tree board has met and if they have scheduled a time or date that they would like to celebrate Arbor Day, which is usually in conjunction with our Earth Day and the National Arbor Day. I am concerned not only as a resident, but because the GFWC El Portal Women's Club helps support the Arbor Day. So I would like to have enough time for our members to assist in coordinating this event. Is it happening?
I'm hoping to have a date for you by the end of next week.
Is it possible that that would be addressed at the other special meeting that we're going to be having?
It is possible.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Good.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor Urban. Appreciate that. President Fruitstone, I think Attorney Geller wants you. Anybody else for good and welfare? Thank you very much. Seeing none. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Oh, before we
Yeah.
adjourn, so sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
The short-term rental issue, when is that coming back to us?
Yes, so that's coming back. First, the short-term rental issue.
Yeah, when are we getting something?
The issue came up in the legislature the last I heard, and you would think I would know, but I have to say that in the last week or so, we get these messages flying back and forth, and sometimes somebody sneaks something onto one, and I have to just really like deconstruct that. But according to the lead lobbyist for the League of Cities, nothing changed. They could not come to an agreement on a bill between the House and the Senate, which is a very good thing. You know, anytime they fail to reach agreement, that's a good thing. So my understanding is they didn't do anything, which means we can put this on the agenda for our next meeting with no changes except any changes that this council wants to make. If it turns out that I'm wrong, that something sneaked through, but I think I would have heard about it. It's a very hot issue in Tallahassee. And apparently, I can only say we got lucky. What they'll do next session, I won't be there to stop them, but it looks like we can put it on for the very next meeting.
Okay, so is that
April.
So what date is that meeting, Madam Clerk?
That is April, the fourth Tuesday in April, which is.
It would be
April
first
26th.
reading, because it isn't.
It's
We
first
did-
reading.
I don't
Okay.
think we had first reading, or am I?
We did, but we're going to revisit the
26.
first reading so she can have her input or anybody else that would like
Right.
to have their
So, I mean, we can make any changes you want that don't violate state law.
Okay.
And we're ready to get that on for the next meeting. Again, I think if somebody had snuck it through, which is what they try to do, that somebody gets up in front of you and says, we have a message from the Senate, they've amended our bill, and this is what the amendment does.
Okay.
Assuming they speak truthfully, we would know, but, you know,
No, I
that's not
completely
always
get
the
that,
case.
that caveat. I just want to make sure, because last time I expected something on this agenda. So I just want to make sure in my mind that I said that on April 26th agenda, we will be hearing something about the short-term rental.
Well,
so
that
it doesn't
said,
seem as though we forgot about it.
let me just say, councilperson, that said, if any member of the council has any changes to the draft, we'd like to get them within, let's say, the next couple weeks.
That's
so-
doable. That's
okay.
good to know.
So if anybody has anything, we can, unless it's something that is clearly prohibited, since the law hasn't changed, let me just be clear. What we've drafted, and I talked again about this with the League of Cities, it's a little aggressive. I can't tell you everything we've put in there, like, for instance, some stuff Miami Springs does. I can't tell you it's been actually approved yet by a court, but we're not the first to do it. Other cities have done it. They've done it before us. We could be challenged, but because, again, we're being a little aggressive because we're trying to do more to regulate it. We had some strong feelings, obviously, about some of it from our residents, and whether any changes are due based on public input, I leave to you guys. But if there are any changes, we'd like to get them in the next couple weeks so we can be sure that we can get them made and get this on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you so much, Attorney Geller. So I think the takeaway for the council is to get our comments in to you within 2 weeks. And then on April 26th, we will definitely see something on short-term rentals and then can move forward.
I will definitely have it on the agenda
Yeah,
for you.
I like
Madam.
that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Martin. Any last questions or comments from the council before I ask for a motion to adjourn?
Everyone likes to reported as an Airbnb, but short-term rentals is what it's the same name, it's the same thing. But, they don't have any special whatever, we just don't like the noise, we don't like the confusion, we don't like. So what we're talking about is we never put it on hold, did we? We didn't put it on hold, it just never showed up on the agenda again, right?
No, we did because we put it on hold because the state he contacted us and said the state was deciding something in Tallahassee. We wanted to wait to see what they decided first, and then we would bring it back to the agenda. So that's
Yeah,
why we put it on hold.
That's my confusion, is, the larger cities have the, enforced, ordinances right now.
We have some. We have something on the books. What we're trying to do is make it tougher. And the question was, were they gonna stop us? Because every bill they pass up
That's
there on
right.
this is bad.
Mhm.
But they didn't get it, as far, to the best of my knowledge, they didn't get anything done, so we can proceed with what we were talking about and try to toughen our ordinance to copy what some other local municipalities have done. Now, if that's not what you want to do,
No, I'm with Maren. I want to get this on the books because I know other cities have already done it.
yes.
And I didn't know that we had paused it at this point, because it's starting to be looked at as a foreign, an alien in the village. And they keep talking about Airbnb. No, I'm talking about short-term rentals, period. I don't care what you call them, because it's just a nuisance. And yes, sir, yes, ma'am, I can hear it around on my side. And we live just a block away. She lives on that end, I live on this end. And just want to know what happened. I thought we completed this, but now you may remember, we did halt it because we didn't know what the,
It looked like they had momentum,
yes.
but as it turns out, they couldn't get their act together between House and Senate. Same as what happened on the condo bill, which should have been a must-pass bill and wasn't.
Yeah. All right.
Fortunately, in this case, it was, nothing got done. I believe.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Councilperson Martin, Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Any last questions or comments from the council before I ask for a motion to adjourn? Hearing none. Motion moved by Councilperson Lightfoot Ward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Martin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing none. The full regular council meeting for Tuesday, March 22nd is adjourned at 9:41 p.m.